Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll stand with us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Christiansburg Town Council is now in session. You have copies of the minutes before you. I hope you've had an opportunity to read those over. And if there, we will entertain a motion to approve the minutes or to alter the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We don't have anyone on the agenda to speak this evening, but this is the time we hear from citizens. If there's anyone here that would like to address council on any matter, now would be the time to speak. So if you're here and would like to address council,
that'd be
please.
you, John.
Thank you.
I don't suppose she does either.
Everybody in here is citizens, I think.
All right, if there's no one to speak to council, we will close this portion of the meeting and proceed with discussion by mayor and town council. First is the appointment to the Recreation Advisory Commission to fill an unexpired term of Mr. Walter Price. The gentleman who is to be presented this evening is attending a conference and could not be here. And I
Plans to be at the next meeting.
All right, if you want to go ahead and appoint him, we can, or we can wait until the next meeting, whichever.
And I did find one reason I wanted to go ahead and appoint him tonight was because I thought they had a Recreation Commission meeting beginning of August, but that meeting's been canceled, I think, so it's
Been
not.
delayed a little bit
not-
in case we need
Yeah,
something.
it's not critical that.
All right, okay, well, if it's okay with council, then we'll hold this appointment until the next meeting.
Let's go ahead and do it. We've kicked this thing around for 6 weeks. Joseph William Beeler, I think all of you had the information on him.
Give us the information about him, Councilman Barber.
He is as Assistant Athletic Director for Athletic Communications at Radford University. Previously held a Sports Information Director's job at Davidson College. Previously Assistant Director of Media Services, Campbell University. He is a resident on Astor Lane. His qualifications, he's got 13 years of experience in collegiate media relations, strong oral and written communication skills and interpersonal skills, strong organizational skills, a sense of performing multiple tasks in a proficient manner, detail-oriented individual that works well within a team environment, skilled in Macintosh and PC processing, design, internet construction programs. He is, he knows his stuff, just to be honest with you. This is one that he'd approached Brad Epperly shortly after he became our recreation director and said, if there's ever an opening, I would certainly like to be considered for it. And Brad seems to be pretty high on the guy, so I would recommend we appoint him.
If I can make another point there, I have handled the AA boys and girls tennis state championship for the last, I guess, 5, 6, 7 years. And during that time, Joey has been the media person that I have to work with, or he has to work with me. And Joey always does a great job. And I tell you, we have to have a tremendous amount of stuff come in a matter of 2 or 3 days. And Joey is always on the top of his game, and we get pictures and everything like that. And my tennis is just if you're familiar with the Spring Jubilee that they have over there, it's just a small part of the game. But I have always really enjoyed working with Joey, and he's always been very helpful to me.
Mr. Mayor, that's good enough for me. I'd move that we go ahead and appoint Mr. Beeler to fill that unexpired term.
Is that a motion?
That is the motion, John, Mr.
And
Mayor.
a second. All right, discussion on Mr. Beeler, is that his name?
That's correct. Now, I think that one of the things that Brad is so enthused about is the guy's media abilities and the fact that, you know, I think he can get a lot of coverage out for the recreation department on a lot of things. So he's really excited about the possibilities of having Joey, so that's all I can say.
All in favor of the appointment of Mr. Beeler to the Recreation Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we'll ask Brad to have him come at a future meeting, or, so you can be introduced.
What was his address again, Mr. Barlow?
Astor Lane,
Astor Lane?
They didn't give a number or anything?
135.
135.
Don't tell him about it, I have to get it.
Councilman Hubbard, you have a report on the Planning Commission subdivision, subcommittees.
Subcommittees, yes, sir.
Did you see?
And I think you have it in your packets. You see the packet concerning at the last meeting for the planning commission. They reconfigured the different committees that they have and who will be on them. And they also had the meeting dates that they will be meeting. And they wanted me to make sure that I expressed to you that you are invited to any one of these meetings that they have. And I thought it would be good for you to get a copy of that agenda and the people who are on different committees, and just to give you a better idea of what they're doing. And so I thought it was good, so they're set up for the next year now. And there's two other little sidelights I'd like to add in. Craig Moore is, I think all of you know, the chairman of that committee, and he does an outstanding job. He really does, and really has everything, really just handles himself very well. He is not on any of the committees, if you notice. Now, he did not push for this, but people in the different committees mentioned this, that, you know, they are now working, that they will get $25 for different subcommittee meetings, and I think we all know that. And somebody said, well, Craig, are you getting anything additional? And he said, no. And then they sort of talked about if there was any money that was left over at the end of the year, that if maybe council would be thinking about it now, and maybe we could give Mr. Moore some of that money for different times that he has to come and make presentations to council. He is not pushing it one way or another. I'm just presenting that out right now, and just for council to think about. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was Ann Carter is, of course, on the planning commission, and that her tenure ends on August 31st. And she mentioned at the last meeting that she would like to be reappointed. And I don't think I need to say anything about Ann. I think everybody is thoroughly aware of her, what she does, and she is very interested in continuing on. And her tenure is over on August 31st, and I thought, even if you would like, I would make a motion that she be reappointed to the planning commission for another term. And Nicole, that is a term of, is it for 4 years? Okay, so that would be a 4-year tenure for her.
It may be more appropriate to get that on the agenda and make it official, probably at our first meeting in August, since her term expires August 31st.
That'd be fine.
So we'll put it on the agenda for the first meeting in August.
Michelle,
Thank
do
you.
I need to talk to you about that or not, or you support it?
Yes, sir, I'll have that on the agenda.
Okay, all right. And you can put my name by it if you wouldn't, I'll do it again.
All right, anything else, Mr. Hubbard?
I think that's fine, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Stipes and Van Hoosier Street Committee report.
You want to explain?
That has been withdrawn for, they've had some legal issues they need to work out. So they withdrew that yesterday or this morning, I forget when.
So the formal subdivision request has been withdrawn. Will we see it again probably?
Probably.
Okay. Another item to update council that we've talked about since probably April is the traffic calming program. We've had a couple of specific requests here recently, one on Allegheny Montgomery and a separate one on Sleepy Hollow. And last meeting, I had some very kind words for the staff and their proactiveness, and we've had several meetings on this. We've looked at several other communities. Remind me, is Charlottesville was one? They have a very robust program. Where else? We had VDOTs, we looked at VDOTs.
Yes, Stanton,
Stanton, yes.
Portsmouth.
Okay. But anyway, through that process, Councilman Van Hoosier, who's welcome to join in any time, working with the staff on this, especially Mr. Wingfield, we have a draft that we're both very supportive of. I won't bore you with the details, but it has a very thorough process that we're gonna be providing you this evening.
Yes.
They do have that, okay. The street committee actually met at 6:30 this evening, and since we're comfortable with it and see no need for delay, we're gonna ask each council member to review this. And if you have any suggestions or comments or want some points of clarification, the street committee would be happy to answer those at the next meeting, but we recommend this without reservation to council for adoption. And subsequent to the adoption of this program, we already also have some specific recommendations. Some of those will be administrative, and one will require council action for specific actions on Allegheny Montgomery and Sleepy Hollow.
That's Allegheny Miller.
Allegheny Miller, I'm sorry, not Montgomery, Miller. But anyway, so the street committee offers this to council for hopeful action at the next meeting. And we'll have you give a full 2 weeks to review it. It will also be in the agenda packet for public digestion or whatever, consideration at the next meeting. Councilman Van Hoosier, do you have anything to add to that?
Now, we can handle that with an official recommendation at the next meeting and
Yes.
council's action.
All right, there's another concern expressed by the residents on Majestic about the amount of traffic and this traffic speed on Majestic. And so there is even a funeral procession through there the other day. And from what I understand, they're passing a petition in the community to ask council to do something about the problems there. We have referred the Majestic to the police department before, and they have put the speed buggy out there. But that works while it's there, but then as soon as it's taken down, then the speed limit continues to be violated. So anyway, I will pass this information on to some of the residents on Majestic. The council is looking at a traffic calming program, but they may be here next council meeting to address council.
Well, if this is adopted, it has a procedure for them to come forth and for us to do the consideration and make a recommendation.
Okay,
It involves the citizens of the area.
Throughout the process.
okay, I'll pass that on to those folks who contacted me.
Mr. Mayor, do we know how the situation is going on Miller and Allegheny, just on the repair situation, and when it might be back in full throttle, or?
I don't have a definite date, but, we'll be paving this fall.
This
We
fall.
are,
I don't know if it,
excuse me,
go ahead.
sorry. The sewer construction is complete. The water line construction, before I went on vacation, was about 2/3 complete. And we have started installing some of the service lines to the individual homes.
If you leave those two streets like they are, I guarantee you won't have you speeding down there. Ain't no need to pave them, God. Almighty, I drove up that thing the other day and I about shook the doors off my truck.
Well, the thing is, if council decides to adopt this procedure, then the staff has prepared recommendations which will have an impact on the completion there and should be a positive impact. And hopefully we can proceed with that.
Now, will Sleepy Hollow or Miller Allegheny, will they have to get a petition together, or is it?
No,
Okay.
well, one of the, not, we don't wanna give all the details,
Yeah.
but one of them, the action that will require council's action is consideration of increased funds for speeding, which will get people's attention. But in order to do that, that has to come through the support of the people that will be affected, most directly affected by
All
it.
the other things recommended for it, Mr. Showalter, are within the administration's boundaries of judgment. And
We'll
it'll
talk
be good.
about that after y'all approve this, and pull the curtain back
I
on
understand.
those.
Okay, this will be on the agenda for the first meeting in August. Good.
So Wayne, we're thinking middle of October?
I can give him a
Talk-
date.
I'm not thinking that.
All right, I'll shut up.
Winter starts 21st of December.
Asphalt plants closing in December, right?
All right, let's move on. We have a request for a closed meeting under Virginia Code Section 2.23711A3 for the discussion and consideration of the acquisition of real estate property for public purpose. And also a request under 2.23711A4 for the protection of the privacy of individuals in personnel matters not related to public business. We'll need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of going into closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned for just a few minutes until we can clear chambers and take a little break.
Exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law and only such matters as are identified in the resolution to enter into closed meeting.
Second. Motion and a second. Ms. Clerk, will you poll council?
Yes, sir. Councilman Barber?
Aye.
Councilman Hall?
Aye.
Councilman Hubbard?
All right.
Councilman Showalter?
Aye.
Councilman Stipes?
Aye.
Councilman Van Huzen?
All right.
That's unanimous. We are back in open session. And council, we need to take action on the proposal presented by Mr. Helms.
I make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that the council allow the extension of FMLA leave from additional 30 days regarding two individuals discussed.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Town Manager.
We have one public hearing to set for vacation of a prescriptive easement, which is East Street. We can set that on the 7th of August because there's 5 Tuesdays this month, so we have time to get it advertised. If
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to set that public hearing. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you.
I'm giving this out. This is another thing that'll be on the agenda for the next meeting. It's an alarm reduction proposal. Police department. So it'll be in the agenda packet the next meeting, and also up for vote if you also desire. If anybody that knows they're not gonna be able to go to the VML conference, if you let Michelle know so she can cancel your rooms, she'd appreciate it. And one other thing I have is the 31st July work session on the budget, starts at 6 o'clock. Just a reminder.
All right. What else, Mr. Helms?
It's awesome.
But, I know last time we talked about the July 31st, just a moment. I know, it's more or less gonna be us brainstorming, but I would like you to reach out to your department heads and, you know, bring something to the table for us to
They're working on it.
appreciate.
May I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
To bring council up to date, I think it was last week, the Huckleberry Trail extension is making a lot of progress. There's been a lot of work by Mr. Nelson, our staff. Mr. Helms has been active with that, and there's a lot of opportunity there. But there are still some holdups with some of these property interest issues in Norfolk Southern, some landowners and so forth, and also just simply getting the trail approved. Mr. Neal is here this evening. But I asked Mr. Helms, beginning in August, at the first meeting in August, for a brief report, a monthly report on the progress of the trail, the sections that are under construction, and we can honestly say that there is a section of that under construction, and the timeline and the holdups for getting the trail to the recreation center. And the spotlight on this will also give us the opportunity to stay in tune with the progress of the trail, and actually will, as a council, will expedite, I have no doubt it will accelerate the extension of the trail to the recreation center. I don't want to say anything more than that, but I do believe firmly that the progress that has been made will be accelerated with a regular spotlight on this, much like it was with the Aquatic Center, but the Aquatic Center had different circumstances. In this case, it's all positive, and there's no one behind on anything, but there are things that are sometimes beyond the staff's control to expedite things, but they're not necessarily beyond our control to
That's a good proposal, Mr. Stipes, and I look forward to hearing those progress reports. I wonder if we couldn't do the same thing with the Route 114, sort of a periodic update. We don't have to have a weekly or a monthly, but just how things are going there with that project.
I don't know how much of the, what's going on to the right side of where the exercise place is today, but when I come through there yesterday, it was looked one way, and came through today, and they bulldozed a ton of it in preparation. So there's a lot of work already been taking, basically see daily, day by day, is a lot being done.
Yeah, they're making a lot of progress on the holding pond.
Yeah.
And Mr. Helms, how are we progressing on a debris pickup from the storm? Are we still picking up?
We're wrapping up this week. They're going through now, and just like they do on spring and fall cleanup, the last week they go through, and once they clear a neighborhood, they're not going back there.
And anything that isn't old, if it's fresh green cut,
We're picking up everything.
are you picking up everything?
We're not gonna argue. Because the pine trees, they can still look green, even though they fell down, but we're just picking it all up. What we pick up now, we want to pick up in October. So
Right.
it's
Anything else?
easier.
Are your garbage trucks taking note of what's out when they hit these neighborhoods?
Mostly the foremen go through, and or his crew goes through, and then the foreman goes through and checks to make sure everything's picked up. But if the garbage crews do talk back to the street department, telling them, if there's a major area, but most everything's up now, it's just piles here and there. And it's not like, one
I hadn't
neighborhood's got a
planned to
huge
bring
amount.
this up, but I've had a couple of emails relative to yard sale signs and who's responsible for taking those things down once the yard sale is over. And I've got one lady who's really upset about these signs that are left up for 2 weeks after the yard sale ends, and has asked us to charge them with littering. Don't think we can do that, but
I think
do we have any kind of ordinance that?
They're not authorized to be put up in public property. Most people put them up, take them back down. You have a few that like to leave them. We could have the ordinance officer deliver them back to the people, and if the ones that have addresses on them, and charge them.
Yeah, well, I'm told there's a box that has the address on it.
Some people put their address on, sometimes it just says yard sale with arrow. Yeah, I don't like the ones left up either, because then I go looking for it, I can't find it, it was 2 weeks ago.
Nicole, you've done a lot of that work, haven't you? Okay, well, thank you. Anything else to come before council?
Just a quick reminder that we have the cemetery committee meeting right after this, if y'all wanted to stay behind.
And Mayor, I've got one thing. The last meeting, the Christiansburg alumni return. I know several years at least, Fran said that they had requested some money. I don't think we've ever paid it out. But they had also mentioned the sign downtown, the banner
Yeah.
going across. But, I mean, we do, it does bring people in from outside the community. And I wouldn't, I mean, if it's council's pleasure, of course, to help them out this year. I mean, this isn't a fly-by-night, once-a-year thing now. It seems to be going pretty well. See if
What
we
did
can.
we do last year?
I don't know, but if I remember correctly, this was brought up when she was here, and she mentioned that they had the resources to do it. What they were interested in is where could they put the sign?
But it's
And,
it's a small sign, it's not as big.
Because you're referring to a big banner across the
I'm
road.
Yeah.
referring to a big banner.
but they didn't have a big banner go
Right.
across the road. But, so I think we will give them direction as to where they might be able to install it. But funding, she said they were okay.
Are we looking at providing a big banner for them?
Well, we have the tourism funds. It does bring a lot of people from outside of town, and this isn't a, like I said, if this was the first or second time, I believe this is what, the third year?
Third or fourth.
Third or fourth year. And several of us has attended it.
They've asked for money before, we turned them down.
Yeah.
They were going to speak with a prominent business about printing those, but they didn't want it tied to a business. They didn't want someone's business name.
Well, I'm not against a banner for them down there, but we have one made up. Let's be sure that the date on it
Can be
is
changed.
such that you can change it.
Yeah.
We use it over and over.
Yeah, because I know with the Kiwanis, we got into that trap, you know. It's easy, it's a whole lot easier to say the third Saturday of September and they just put dates on. But that's not her case, but hopefully we'll figure out some way to do it.
That would be a nice offer to make to,
I know your staff's busy, but do you think somebody could reach out to her just to, or at least Becky, since she's our professional PR person, at least price that thing to see, you know, what it would cost us?
How long does
Well-
it take to get a banner made, you know?
About a week.
Well, if we're gonna do it this year, we probably need to go ahead and authorize to do it. And if it's, I don't have any idea how much it costs you.
I'm thinking
Don't see
$500.
sign.
I'd say you're right,
Yeah.
Mr.
Normally does them for a couple $100, I think.
The small ones or the big,
The
cross?
big ones.
Well, maybe we could tell we would pay up to $500 for a banner.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
They're
Out
putting
of
a
our
lot of work.
tourism fund money.
Yeah.
And it does bring a lot of people.
Sure.
I have no problem with supporting that at all.
I could support that.
And definitely something that doesn't stale date, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely have some good ideas for that.
And the town would be glad to put it up for Winterberry.
That's the requirement on that banner we put them up.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all in agreement on that. Cemetery committee meets immediately after this meeting. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, I have just a little quickie here. I've been over at the Aquatic Center quite a bit lately, and I just wasn't sure if everybody was aware of that big diving meet that they had here at the Aquatic Center last weekend, 18 and under. There's about 200 divers that came from all over the East Coast. Big collection of kids here and parents. And then this coming weekend, they're gonna be, the Aquatic Center's gonna be hosting the Virginia Age Group Championship from Thursday, the 19th of July to the 22nd. And this is for swimmers who are 14 and under, and they are expecting about 600 swimmers from around the state of Virginia to come here. So 2 big shots here for the Aquatic Center.
Okay.
We went to the Starlight Saturday night. There were swimmers there, license plates from Pennsylvania, Kentucky.
Are they swimming this weekend and diving next weekend?
Well,
the
diving
other way around.
this past weekend, and swimmers this weekend.
There's money circulating in the community. I mean, we know that, but I mean, here, even at the Starlight Motor Line, or the Starlight Drive-In, there was.
Well, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
The newspaper they took the 2 press releases, combined them and messed them all up
Yeah.
twice.
She wasn't there, Jim. She was at
So,
Woodbury.
that's why there's probably some confusion about which weekend and what's going on, but they were supposed to have printed them each individually correct.
You were at the Starlight Drive-In Theater.
Yes.
What was this past
We-
week?
Been a long,
Brave, the movie was Brave. This is Brave.
been a long time since I've frequented that one. I didn't,
Barbecue sandwiches.
One
I
of
did-
Bear Mounds, these older homes.
I didn't know married people went to the Starlight Drive.
I had a,
That is-
You should have did yourself on that.
How are you handling this, Michelle?
I had a 4-year-old niece on my lap and fell asleep halfway through. And I had nacho cheese on my shirt.
Okay.
Just a step late on the adjournment.
We better adjourn.